Good morning, dear students. Once again, we are here for starting our English grammar class. Dear students, in last class, I already start this chapter and we already discussed about phrases, definition of phrase, example of phrase, types of phrases. All that thing already we discussed in our last class. In this class, we will talk about clauses. Dear students, at first, before going to start this class, I want to revise our last class. In last class, we already studied about phrases. Phrases means such that type of the part of the sentence, or we can say that group of the words, whichever does not consist of a subject or a finite verb. But dear students, if we are going to talk about clauses, then it may be differ from that phrases because of that. Clauses may consist of subject also and finite of verb also. So dear students, if we are going to talk about phrases or clauses, we have to start about the sentence whichever we already discussed in our last class, like 6 and 7 sentences, how many types of sentences are there. All that thing we already discussed in our previous classes. Dear students, now I am going to begin our class clauses with our definition of clauses. What is clause? At first we have to know about that type of things. Dear students, at first I want to told you, because of that, if we are going to talk about phrases and clauses, we have to know about the group of words. Means such that type of the words group whichever gives a little sense or some sense, that type of things will be consist in the phrases, clauses and sentences. Now we'll begin our class with clauses definition. A group of words that has a subject and a finite of verb. Dear students, in last class I already mentioned, in phrases that does not consist of subject and a finite verb. But if we are going to talk about clauses, then both are present. If in any part of a sentence or in a group of words, subject is also there, finite verb is also there, then it will be known as clauses. Finite verb, once again I am going to revise, that type of verbs give sense of tense or identity of tense. Because of that we can identify the tense, which type of tense is there, like verb first form plus ing, before we can say that was or were or whatever is being mentioned as the auxiliary verbs. Such that type of formation will be there. Because of that, we can identify the sentence, that sentence is formed in which tense. That type of verb is known as finite verb. Once again I am going to give an example of that thing, like Ram is going to Jaipur. Dear students, if we talk about this sentence, then we can say that subject is our Ram and is going. That thing is known as finite verb. Because of that is plus ing form, we can say that that's the part of present continuous. Such that type of word is known as finite verb. And if we are going to demonstrate with this sentence, phrases and clauses, then we can say that to Jaipur. This part is known as phrases because subject is also not there and finite verb is also not there. So it is known as phrases. If we talk about clauses, then complete this sentence formation is known as clauses. Because of that, it is closed. Because of that, subject is also here, finite verb is also here. And in definition, we already mentioned a group of words that has a subject and a finite verb. Subject is also here and finite verb is also here. So we can say that it's a clause. Dear students, example is given here. He is an honest man. He is an honest man. Then he is subject and finite verb is also here. So we can say that it is clause. Second sentence is here. When she opened the door. See, subject, opened, finite verb. I, subject, saw, finite verb. Means, dear students, we can say that clause may be have one subject and one finite verb, maybe two subject and two finite verb, maybe have three subject and three finite verb. All that thing we will discuss later, but at first I am going to revise definition. A group of words that has a subject and a finite verb of its own and makes complete sense. Dear student, it is a main portion. If you have subject also, finite verb also, and it's giving complete sense, then we can say that it is a clause. Otherwise we couldn't say. So already we mentioned three sentence. He is an honest man. When she opened the door, I saw her. When she opened the door, I saw her and she greeted me. Subject, subject, subject. Total three subjects are there. Finite verb, finite verb, finite verb. Means three subject and three verb. Means we can say that a clause may be have three subject, three verb, one subject, one verb, two subject, two finite verb. It may be have more also. So we can say that it may be depend on the quality of the sentence, which type of sentence we are going to write. According to that we can mention subject and verb. Dear students, now we will talk about types of clauses, and if we are going to talk about types of clauses, then we can say that there are two types of clauses. First one is here man or the independent clause, and second one is subordinate or dependent clause. Dear students, if we are going to talk about man or independent clause, then we can say that that type of clause whichever may be independent, not dependent on anyone else. Like he is an honest man. It is independent clause because it does not depend on anyone else. If we talk about subordinate clause, then we can say that when she opened the door, this is independent. I saw her. It is dependent on this one only. If we talk about third sentence, then we can say that when she opened the door, independent. I saw her, dependent. And she greeted me, dependent. If you are going to talk about, if you say directly I saw her, then it does not giving you complete sense. I saw her, not giving any type of sense. She greeted me, not giving, we can say that independently giving any type of sense. But if we say that when she opened the door, I saw her and she greeted me, then we can say that it gives complete sense. Because of that, we distinguish into two parts, man or independent clause. Such that type of clause are independent and give its own sense, and subordinate or dependent clause or dependent on independent clause. We will discuss about this. So at first we will talk about man or the independent clause. Dear students, now we will discuss about man or independent clause. Dear students, if we are going to talk about man or independent clause, then we can say that such that type of clause may be independent, not dependent on any type of other sentence like you. So if we are going to talk about definition of independent clause, I already discussed about that thing. We can say that group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. Means in a predicate, finite verb may be there and function as a complete sentence. We can say that it may be a complete sentence also. But if we talk about quality of man or independent clause, then we have to mention four important things in your mind. Because of that, man or independent clause may consist of a subject, that is number one. It may be consist of a complete thought, number two. Number three, it may have its own verb. Number four, can stand as or not dependent on any other sentence. I already taught here three examples. Isika plays the guitar. Then we can say that Isika is subject, plays, verb is also here, Okay, and if we talk about complete thought, then it complete group of words gives us sense. Ishika plays the guitar. It is habitual action of Ishika. It is hobby of Ishika. So we can compare with this four quality. Subject is also here. Complete thought is also giving this one. Verb is also here. Can stand as or not dependent on any another type of sentence. Eva drives the car. Then Eva is subject, drives verb. And if we talk about these qualities, subject is here. Complete thought is also given by this group of words. Eva drives the car. Complete sense is given. After that, verb is also here and can stand as own also. Ashwin writes a novel. If we talk about third sentence, Ashwin writes a novel, then we can say that Ashwin is subject and writes is a verb. And if we talk about four qualities, then we can say that it consists of subject also, verb is also here, can stand as own also, and gives complete sense. Dear students, it's about man or independent clause. Once again I am revising. Group of words that contains a subject and a predicate with the finite verb and giving complete sense, then we can say that it is known as complete sentence also. Four qualities of the clauses here. It may consist of subject, it gives complete thought, it has a verb, and it can stand as on. And I already mentioned with three examples. Dear students, now we will discuss about subordinate or dependent clause. Dear students, now we will talk about subordinate or dependent clause. If we talk about subordinate or dependent clause, then we can say that subordinate or dependent clause are group of words that contains a subject and a predicate, same as a independent clause or main clause. But main important thing is here, it does not give any type of complete sense. Sorry, you have to write here, it does not gives complete sense. And if we talk about main clause, then that gives complete sense, but it does not give complete sense. And if we talk about subordinate or dependent clause, anyone asks you how can you identify subordinate or dependent clause, then dear students, you can identify through a connector or a marker. If you watch any type of marker word or a connector between a sentence, then you can say that after a marker word or connector word, you can identify that may be 100% dependent clause or subordinate clause. If we talk about marker word, I already wrote here marker word and connector. What do you mean by marker word and connector? Then dear students, marker word I already mentioned here, because, since, after, while. Such that type of words are known as marker word. Because of that, they mark any type of reason why second dependent clause is going to be right. And if we talk about connector, then we can say that conjunction, whichever word is used for the connecting two sentences like or, but, yet, and many more. I wrote here etc. Dear students, I already wrote here example also of subordinate or dependent clause. Ishika plays the guitar because she loves music. Dear students, if you know about that type of thing, if any type of marker word or connector word, then you can identify which is dependent clause. Then if you talk about Ishika plays the guitar, it is independent clause, main clause or independent clause. But if we talk about another thing, then a marker word is here, because it's marker word and it is here, so we can say that she loves music is dependent clause. On dependent on which? That's sentence number first, and this one is second. We can say that second clause is dependent on number one. And afterwards we talk about the types of clauses, how many types of clauses, then we can say that many types of clauses are there, like noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause. These students, in your textbook already given a noun clause definition also here. If any clause is work as a noun in a sentence, then we can say that it is a noun clause. And if we talk about or identify about the noun clause, then you can say that it always starts with that type of word like if, whether, or WH word like who, what, whose, whom, which, why. Such that type of word are starting word of the noun clause. Example is also here: who have finished the homework will go for the movie in the evening. So we can identify because of that WH word is here, so we can say that it is a noun clause. And if we talk about adjective clause, then we can say that if any type of adjective clause work as adjective, that is known as adjective clause. Like example is here: Ravi rewarded the man who returned his wallet. On the place of the subject, if we use any type of WH question word like who, whose, which, whom, and also like a relative clause, so we can say that it is a adjective clause. And last one is here adverb clause. Then we can say that if any adverb clause work or function as an adverb, then we can say that it is the adverb clause. And if we talk about identification of the essence, so we can say that so because although, as if, or WH type of words is given here, then we can identify that type of adverb clause. Dear students, it's our chapter number first, phrases and clauses, and it is very important according to grammar purpose. Because of that, it is the basic things of the grammar. We already discussed phrases and clauses. Once again, I am revising. In phrases, subject is also there and finite verb is also there. And if we talk about clauses, sorry, in phrases, the subject and the according to that, if we talk about the subject and finite verb, then we can differentiate both of the things. Because of that, in this, the subject and the finite verb is absent. In phrases, subject plus verb is absent. And if we talk about clauses, then we can say that subject and verb both are present. You have to write in a notebook like this. Because of that, you can identify subject and verb both are absent, then we can say that it is phrase, and subject and verb both are present, then we can say that it is clause. After that, you have to study about the classification of that phrases and clauses. Dear students, I hope you understand this chapter very well. After all, if you have any type of doubt, you can directly ask me on my number through call or WhatsApp message, or how whatever you have any type of the sources like a Google Meet class also I will conduct for this chapter. If you have any type of doubt, then surely you can ask your doubts through Google Meet class. Thank you so much.